Hello and welcome to Sega News Bits. I'm Barry, with me is George.
The comic version of George.
The crosshatched George. And we are talking about the IDW Sonic Comic Town Hall panel that took place at New York Comic Con. And so it was some IDW folks, some Sonic folks, and they were talking about when we can expect the comics to launch, some of the creatives behind it, and a little tease maybe at, what we can expect story-wise maybe. So the first big news, I think, is that the issue number 1 kicks off April 4th, 2018, and then you don't have to wait much time at all. In fact, issue 2 releases April 11th, issue 3 April 18th, and issue 4 April 25th. So they are rushing these out here. George, is this normal for the comics industry?
It depends on which company. I think they all publish things differently. Like, I've had some books where they just publish like 4 issues like this, like randomly. Depends on the company, but I guess they just really want to kick off the story, and I guess they're making up for lost time.
Yeah.
How many months has it been that we've had a Sonic comic?
Oh boy, it's been, I haven't even kept track, but I feel like we went at least 7 or 8 months with no answer, like as to when the next issue would come. Then Archie was canceled, and then we waited and waited. So yeah, they're definitely making up for lost time, I think. So there's that. And then the prices for these, we looked into it. The going rate for most IDW comics is $3.99, though again, issue 1s are sometimes $1 more. Isn't that correct?
Depends on the publisher, but most publishers charge more for the number 1 issue.
Right. And who knows, they might do the variant cover art. I know that IDW does that with like Back to the Future, and it can be as someone who likes the regular cover art, it can be such a headache when you get an issue at your comic shop and you're like, oh, it's the Funko Pop variant cover. Can you not give me this one, please? It looks like shit.
And sometimes they do this random thing too. I think IDW, I know they do that with their like TMNT comics, where they'll have 4 covers and you'll get a random one, like if you order it. I guess if you go into the shop and you pick it out, you get to pick it out. But I order them by mail, so when I get them in, I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't even get to pick the cover. That's cool.
That's nice of them. Speaking of TMNT, their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics based on the kids show, the 2012 show, which is an awesome show, which I think ends this year anyway. Ian Flynn worked on those comics, and we long speculated that if this goes to IDW, which we were right about, Ian Flynn would be a writer because of his connections to IDW and his past work on the Sonic series. And once again, Sega News Bits was correct. Ian Flynn is taking over writing duties for at least these 4 issues and beyond. I don't get the sense that he's like given a like head writer title. He's just the writer. I think
they did. No, I think
they did. Oh, well then, Congratulations. But so he's coming back. He's going to be writing for them. Now, some people are speculating, oh, does this mean that, it's going to carry on the stories? Is it not? I mean, and we'll get into this, but if the stories kick off and it's like a complete reboot, the fact that Ian's there pretty much confirms that we're going to see, I think, old elements brought in some way. We don't know how, but I could see that happening. This is a guy who already kind of took over writing duties from Ken Penders and had to shape the comic into something readable again. And then he oversaw another reboot within, the Archie Sonic series at issue 252. So this guy's, he's doing, I think it's like his 3rd reboot in the Sonic comic universe pretty much, which is crazy. Well, what do you think about Ian coming back?
I think everybody knows that we really like him in the comics and the way he writes these comics. So this is actually a very good move by IDW. We just don't know the artist, but I think it would be pretty cool to see different artists like do short versions of like interior art and like switch it up. I think it would be cool. Yeah,
that would be very cool. Speaking of artists, we don't have it confirmed as to if they will be, full-time doing interiors, exteriors, whatever. Tyson Hess is connected somehow because he did do a piece of art for the panel. They gave away these little mini posters, and it has Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy in their modern style. though it's done in the same style. I mean, it's his signature style that we saw in the animated intro to Sonic Mania. Of course, it's in the modern era. So, I mean, he's coming back in some capacity. We don't know what. Yeah, and
he did say he wasn't doing interiors, though.
Yeah, I mean, for people who don't know what he's done in the past with Sonic, he, of course, did those boxer hockey, parodies. But then he did the very popular Sonic Mega Drive miniseries, which was supposed to be 3 issues, and the 3rd issue never came out. So I haven't really banged the drum about this yet, but I really wish more people were talking about the need to conclude that arc and the need to conclude the 4-issue arc that was going to at least, finish off the last arc that could have ended the Sonic Archie line. Instead, we had 1 issue unfulfilled there and then 1 Mega Drive issue unreleased. And I just think it sucks because those were some of the best stories they did as of recent. And I'm very excited for this IDW thing, but, tie up the loose ends, please. How about the Q&A? They answered a lot of questions from fans because it was a town hall. So, George, in terms of the Freedom Fighters, what sense did you get from that?
They said that you'll see, so I'm assuming that the Freedom Fighters will come back. I mean, Ian Flynn is writing it, and he obviously has a very, he likes the Freedom Fighters, so yeah. I think it's going to happen one way or another, even if it's not, I guess, intact. What character would not come back if they are owned by Archie? I don't think any of them are, right?
I think Sega owns everything. I think anything post issue 252 is owned by Sega.
Okay, so this shouldn't be an issue, then, bringing it back.
Yeah, I don't think it should be because it was all, unless there's something contractual I'm not getting, everything, because there was an issue with past creators and, what they owned versus what Archie and Sega owned. And they did a reboot at 252, which maintained some of the continuity but mixed things up for other ones. So it's like, I remember the past, but it's not quite the past that we remember. And so some characters disappeared, like all the echidnas, but then other ones remained. And so I feel like if they had, a smart legal team, they did it right this time. But for sure the core cast are going to be up for grabs, the core Freedom Fighters, because they're actually not Archie. They are from the old animated series, which is completely owned by Sega.
And obviously you like this move, right? Remember bringing them back?
What, the reboot or bringing them back?
Bringing them back.
I could go a while without them. I would like to see them focusing on Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy and, the video game characters. But I will say I really like the work that Ian and the artists did in rebooting the Freedom Fighters. The designs were much better, and I feel like they did so much work there that it would be a shame to throw it all away and not bring them back. Now, I know this isn't like a full-on podcast, so I don't want to get too speculative, but I really feel like if they're relaunching this thing, it would be great if they tied it in with the issue 252 reboot. And when issue 1 comes out, just call it, Sonic the Hedgehog Volume 2 issue 1, and then in little parentheses, continuing the numbering, because they left it off at a very good point where, Eggman was still around but defeated, all the characters were happy, and that's when they started doing the throwback stories with the Genesis era. And so I feel like they could come back and just do a light reboot, something like, like with The Force Awakens, where they were like, you come back and it's like new characters, new situations, but then they slowly start to bring back some of those other elements.
I do think that the other old elements will come back. I mean, Ian Flynn is known for sticking as much fan service as he can.
Yeah, for sure. And the last bit, IDW, they have a huge amount of IPs under their belt, or, licenses. So in terms of crossovers, it's definitely possible, and it's something they're considering. I guess the question is, what would they cross over with? What would you like to see Sonic crossover with in terms of other IDW comics?
I think I already talked about this a lot, but I would like to see a TMNT crossover. I think that would work. I do think it would be funny to watch them interact with Back to the Future for some reason.
You know, they could with Silver the Hedgehog, because he's basically Marty McFly. Yeah, I'd love to see a TMNT crossover, and I think we have discussed this before because I did mention Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles used to be have their animated series adaptation done by Archie, and so Sonic and TMNT were under the same Archie action line for a while, and there was even a panel where Sonic and the Turtles were in the same like sewer together, but they were passing each other, didn't notice it. And of course TMNT is known for going like dimensional hopping, and like, what is it, the Samurai Rabbit, Usagi Yojimbo, his whole thing is it's like a world of animals, so it's not anything, Sonic wouldn't be something new to them. It would be pretty cool, actually.
I agree.
So we covered a lot here, and now we want to hear what you guys think. Do you like Ian returning? Would you like to see Tyson doing more than just some cover art? How about those Freedom Fighters? Would you like to see them return? And I think most importantly, at least in terms of weird comments, what's the weirdest crossover with another IDW comic you'd like to see? Let us know.
Thank you guys for watching.